What is up, guys? It is Allie Harding, and we're back for another podcast. Today we have an amazing story that I've been so excited to share with you guys, and since I heard it, I've been a little peeved off at some hospitals. So today we're going to try and see what we can do about it. We're going to hear a story that hits close to home for me, too, and I finally came up with a name for the podcast. I know, we're 3 episodes in, and now we finally have a name. Because the issue was last podcast, I had said that it was between 2 names and that we had really loved one, but Instagram had taken down the username, and I was really mad about it. But I just added and now we have the username back. So it is called the Illest Minds Podcast. That is the official name of the podcast. And I don't know if everyone watches what I do on TikTok, but I talk a lot about mental health. I talk a lot about advice. And the first podcast, I kind of told my story that I was suicidal for 10 years. And then I attempted suicide one night, woke up the next morning and found out that my brother had actually killed himself the same night. And then I changed my life. I do motivational speaking now and do a podcast. So it's only fitting that it's called the Illest Minds because, you know, there's some good stories and we're trying to change the world here. Okay. So, that is the name of the podcast. That's what we do. And then also sometimes I just feel like talking shit. So we can do that too. Cause ADHD is also a part of my life. So, but yeah, so I have some amazing guests here. They just flew in from Utah today, just to come on the podcast. So I'm really excited to have you guys here. If you guys want to introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Tanisha Moyes, Alyssa's mom.
I'm Alyssa Trujillo, the daughter.
So kind of just maybe talk about your story. Just give everyone kind of an insight to why you're here.
So, I'm fairly new to TikTok, and I've been following you for a while now. And my daughter's 22 years old, and she's in congestive heart failure. And we learned this back July 2nd. She got sick, and
July 6th.
July 6th, sorry. It all kind of jumbles together.
Yeah.
So July 6th, she got sick randomly. I mean, she had some health issues going on, but pretty much I found her unconscious, barely breathing, on our couch, and she was in the hospital. They took her in, and she had a random blood infection, and that blood infection got into her heart and caused endocarditis. So it enlarged her heart. She was on a PICC line for 6 weeks.
So what is a PICC line? Because I don't even know what it is.
So, like a regular IV can only last a couple days at a time, but PICC lines can last weeks to months. So I had it just in my arm, and it was running up across and then right into my heart.
Oh, okay.
To treat the staph infection.
So it's basically just like a long-term IV.
Antibiotics, which it was like, every 4 hours, like 1 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock, like
just constant
clockwork.
Okay.
So she was on a PICC line for 6 weeks, and then she was still sick. She was swelling up. We didn't know what was going on. And then we were up camping, and she was super swollen. I mean, like 15 pounds of fluid, like cankles, like cankles going on. So her boyfriend took her to the hospital.
Because did that just happen like out of nowhere? Like it just all of a sudden?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Well, not exactly. Like I've had the swelling since 2019.
Okay.
But like it has progressively gotten a lot worse. And that weekend, over a matter of just a couple of days, I like tripled in size just from so much swelling. And like I wasn't really able to pee, to get the swelling down. And whole body.
Was it just swelling, or did you like feel sick too?
Kind of both, but like just the swelling was so bad I couldn't even walk. And like my heart rate was so fast constantly. And so I had him take me to the U because I was sick
Yeah.
of all the other hospitals. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the hospital names.
We can edit them out too, so don't worry about it. But if you want to, you can. If you don't, then that's fine.
Ogden, Utah-based hospitals.
Yeah.
But I was like, let's not go to those. Let's just go to the U. And I had gotten there. We went right to the emergency room.
Mm-hmm.
And they had seen how swollen I was. And they actually brought down some cardiologists.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with how like high my heart rate was, because it was like 166, almost like 170.
Oh my gosh.
And so they brought them down, and just like the on-call
Mm-hmm.
and the hospitalist, and they're like, we recommend you come see our cardiology team like as soon as possible. And they basically just sent me home because they didn't really have a reason to keep me.
Yeah.
Started me on some diuretics, and the next day I was so swollen I was having trouble breathing.
Yeah.
And my boyfriend was taking me home, and it was just so bad. Like I was gasping. We had gone to one of the Ogden-based hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
And this was when like they were filled with patients with COVID.
Yeah. Because this was all last year, right? Last July. So almost a year, right?
So this was the end of like September.
Oh, okay.
At this point.
Oh, okay.
So they had no beds, and they asked where we would like to go, and we said the U. And so they called them and told them what was going on, like how much fluid they think I had, and whereas I just was at the U in the ER the day before, they had reserved the last room up at the U on the cardiology floor. And so, and then I was up there for 5 weeks just draining all the fluid. And
how do they drain fluid? Like,
basically you just pee it out.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, that's like one of the only ways. But so I was on IV diuretics. So I was just constantly peeing, and by the end of that 5-week stay, they had drained just over 6 gallons.
Oh my
of
gosh.
fluid. Like
that is insane. That's like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, no wonder you were like 3 times. Yeah, that's so much.
Yeah, it's insane. And then about 4 days of being released, 4 days out, I was just swollen and nothing was helping. The diuretics stopped working. And in 4 days, I gained 16 pounds of fluid back.
So it's just nonstop.
Yeah.
Like it was just constant. Oh my gosh.
Did
they tell you at this point like what was wrong? Or was it just...
So at first, it was just congestive heart failure, because like a dry cough and swelling up is the 2 biggest symptoms. And so they had just said, congestive heart failure, we can start you on some medications. But it was kind of going to be a slow process with starting up those medications. And then after the 4 days, they were on some more testing, and they were like, you need a full-blown heart transplant. And then...
What was like going through your mind when they were like saying that to you? Like, was it scary? Was it like, what were you even thinking?
At that time, I don't even think I fully processed it.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, oh, whatever. I'll just get a new heart.
Yeah,
like
that it would be a simple thing and it wouldn't have to be drawn out for months or years or...
Yeah. I definitely was not aware of like how big the process is even before getting listed. So it's like...
Yeah, what was going through your mind at that time, like when you heard it?
I think I called you.
I was there.
No, I called you, and then you came the next day. either the day of or the next day.
Oh, I don't know. I just know me and my mom were in there and we just broke down.
Yeah. I mean, what else do you do? That I literally can't even imagine. Like, yeah, so tough. But so then after that, like,
It's just been just hospital stage. She ended up in the ER again they had to drain her right lung and just always swelling up. And so then we're meeting up with the heart team and they're, getting a game plan together, which we felt confident because we have a team of doctors. There's multiple doctors on her case, but so yeah, they started mentioning heart transplant or possible LVAD, which is a pump that, say her heart gives out, it's like kind of emergency situation or it's a bridge to heart transplant. I mean, it weighed what, like 6 pounds? Like it's pretty much like a little vest thing that she would have to wear.
like at all
It's
times.
heavy. It's heavy. You can't even shower with it. So she's like, I don't want it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You can't swim. You can't. Yeah, you have
You're
to cover
literally
it.
like a bionic person.
Pretty much.
Oh my gosh.
So we're like, no, we want the heart transplant, and they're like, okay, it's a process, and you have to do doctor's appointments. They told her at 22 years old, you'll never be able to have children. We had to get her on birth control because it could kill her. They forced her to get the COVID vaccine, which she had an allergic reaction from Moderna. So now she has rashes on her arms.
Not rashes, scars.
Scars,
Yeah.
sorry. They turned into a rash and blisters and scarring.
And that was from the COVID vaccine?
Yeah. 2 days after getting it, I recorded it. I was like, this is proof. 2 days later, she comes in and she has just a rash, and it looked like her skin was melting.
Oh my gosh.
So-
Was it painful? Like
Yeah.
the rash?
It still hurts.
Still? How long has it been? Like,
January. Yeah.
and it still hurts? Oh my gosh. Okay. Keep going. What's where you're at?
Yeah, so January 23rd, I believe, was when I had the reaction
Okay.
to it. That was either the day I got the shot or the reaction.
Yeah.
But yeah, it barely completely healed like the end of April. So
Oh my gosh. See, it's not just, I don't know, because they had you get other vaccines and stuff, right, too? So it wasn't,
Like immunizations.
yeah, they kind of force you like, and even then, I haven't gotten my
Vision.
flu shot since I was 17.
yeah.
Because I just have such terrible side effects from it. And always end up getting extremely sick after. And even then I was forced to get that one.
Yeah.
Like
So these are
you-
like all things that they like force you to do to get on the heart transplant list.
Yeah, it's required.
So you guys did basically everything that they told you to do.
Multiple doctor's appointments. And
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
never appointments missed unless I was in the hospital. Every single appointment I've gone to. We've completed all of the requirements for the list. Every little thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my gosh. So that was in January. And then since then, like,
So fast forward, so she got her medical cannabis card because she has fibromyalgia and gastroparesis and she's in pain.
yeah.
It's medically,
Yeah.
it's a prescription.
Yeah.
So she gets her card and when she was in the hospital, they're like, well, you have to drug test. If you're going to be on the transplant list, you have to have clean UAs. And we're like, okay, cool, not a problem. So they require 6 months of clean UAs. 6 months was in April. She completed it, like flying colors. And then they called us in April and said we had to schedule another appointment with another allergist specialist, which we had already done,
Yeah.
to have them recognize that this is a contraindication and she can't get the COVID vaccine. So we did that. And I was like, no, we already did that. And then they said that she had to get more immunizations done. Okay, we went literally the next day, got her shots, and then they're like, oh, well, you have to wait another 4 weeks before we list you because it's a live virus and, you can't be on the transplant list if a heart comes.
All of a sudden, because heart transplants, they have to like call you immediately and you're in there, right?
You have like an hour to get there.
Yeah, it's like time sensitive. Okay.
And mind you, this whole time we're like staying in the state, like staying close. We're afraid to travel.
It's just impacting your whole life at that point.
Planning a wedding. We're like, okay, what if they call the day before the wedding? Like, what are we going to do? And so we went and got the shot, and then they were supposed to list her, and I'll let her take over from here.
Yeah. Finally. I mean, so I guess for me, going back like the last 4 or 5 months, mentally and emotionally has been, it's been more difficult than this whole time physically for me. I just kind of feel like I'm just another patient. That
you're just like a number. Because like I know when, like, because I had my issues with it, the thing that would like get to me too is like even when they would come and bring me food like into my hospital room, it was ER6. It wasn't like my name. It's like you're just another number. You're a patient to them. They see it all the time. So yeah,
it feels very condescending.
Yeah, like you're not a human.
Like you're a robot with no feelings, and it's very, I mean, you're lacking human decency at that point.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, just dealing with them, and they're a great hospital overall, but when it comes to mental and emotional health and being understanding, they don't care.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what words I can put to describe like my hurt and my anger towards them.
Yeah.
And it sucks because it's like to follow every rule or you don't get listed, and they're literally, whether you're religious or not, I'm really not, but it's in the words of they're playing the hands of God.
Yeah.
And that's just the toll on me that it's taken. And since finding out I needed a transplant, I constantly have nightmares about it. And especially as time gets closer to being listed, they get worse and more frequent. And the last couple months, since about March, it's almost every night I lose sleep over it because I just can't fall back asleep. Because in my nightmare, I'm watching myself get the transplant and then I die.
That is crazy.
It's like I'm a nurse watching.
Because you want to know what was happening. That same thing happened to me when I was obviously like not to the extent and like whatever, but I used to have nightmares that I was killing myself like over and over and over again because I have very vivid dreams. And so it was like if I was burning in my dream, then it was like I could smell like burning flesh. It was like, and so I would literally wake up and I couldn't breathe. And so I would like wake up, I couldn't breathe for like up to a minute, and it was happening like twice a night, and it was constant. So I totally get the whole nightmares thing, especially mentally when you're that drained and you're that, I don't know, it's just, it plays a toll on, like you can't even escape it when you're asleep, like when you're unconscious, it's like you never get a break from it. So
That's
totally get that.
exactly, yeah, like, and so I think it was May 2nd, May 1st or 2nd. I mean, the last couple months has been rough, but just that week and the last 2 days or so before that, I was just so like fed up and feeling done. And I at the time was on sleeping pills and muscle relaxers. And I only really had taken them when I needed them, so I had like a full bottle prescription of each.
Yeah.
And I like to put it as shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
And I wasn't intending on doing it, but I had taken the full 2 bottles, so about 70 pills between the both of them together, and I swallowed them, and I just wanted it to end. That's how I was thinking about it. And you know, everyone tells me how selfish it was. It was stupid, but I really, the best way I can explain the feeling is it was like, oh my God, what is the word? It was a desperate way.
That's what I used to tell people all the time, was when people would tell me that it was selfish what I was doing, or me being suicidal or attempting suicide was selfish of me. I would always give them the perspective of, I've been holding on every single day for everybody else, and I've wanted to die for 10 years. And the one time that I was like, I literally, sometimes that wasn't even enough. Like, I was living for everybody else for years, and it was like, my mom would be sad, my family would be really sad, and I knew people would be sad if I was gone. But even that wasn't enough sometimes, because when your brain is that scrambled and you're so, it doesn't matter. And like at that point you're like, to me it was like I was a burden to my mom. I was just another problem. I was getting in trouble all the time. Everyone in school hated me. It was like a constant. And then it's like, I used to do like crazy stuff where I would literally punch myself in the head, because I was like, I hate the way my brain works. I just hate that I'm this way, because everyone else can just go on and like, yeah, they struggle, I guess. But like, to me, it was like, there was not 1 second that I didn't go thinking about death. Like, there was not one. And so I commend you a lot, because it's so brave and so powerful to be able to talk openly about it, which is why I love what I do, is because I've always been a very open book. I've always been able to talk about it and be comfortable talking about it. And so I commend you. It's very brave to be able to speak openly about it and honestly and tell like where you're at and describe the feelings so that people might be able to have a better understanding. And because not everyone's been in that place where they don't want to be here anymore. And so giving people an understanding and a different perspective maybe on what it's like to actually feel like that. Because I don't believe that suicide is selfish, as much as I want to say that, because I've had my issues with my brother and everything. And to me, it's like, you didn't have to do that. Like, you have a daughter, you have a whole family. But at the same time, I know how it feels to be in that place where it's like, it's not enough, even then. And that might be bad to say or rude to say, but mentally that's where I was at. So I'm very proud of you for being able to talk about it openly.
Thank you.
Keep going.
No, but, and I mean, it's like the same with me. I've always been an open book. And I have been on both ends now, where I've been dealing with anxiety and depression really bad for the last 12 years, because my birth father just up and walked out a year after I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. My mom had 3 of us and was a single mom. And so, you know, that's just another thing to add to the plate. It was hard on her and me.
Yeah.
Me and her weren't close.
Yeah. How was that for you? Like, how did you,
being a single mom, or
Yeah,
her,
like
her dad
dealing with
leaving?
everything, like all of it,
I mean, I had to, just at the end of the day, I'm like, I have to pick up the tab no matter what.
one day at a time.
I'm the mom, and I had no choice. So I made it work, worked multiple jobs, did what I did, and I think they turned out pretty okay.
Yeah.
They're better than
Little sweet girl.
where I was at that age.
Yeah.
So,
But I've been dealing with it for about 13 years. 13 years. And
So you had like struggled mentally previously, like before any of this even happened. So of course your mental health is gonna slip, especially when you're like, I mean, I couldn't help but feel like a guinea pig at that point. It's like you're constantly getting poked with needles and being a test subject, and maybe you'll get on a list, and it's a constant what if. And so you couldn't help but be depressed. There's
it's
no
draining. It's draining. And I mean, when your mental and emotional health slip even more, I should say in my case, your physical health starts to slip even more. And it's like,
Yeah, people don't think about that.
Tatters. They really don't.
Your mental has so much to do with physical, so much.
It does. Yeah. But it's just, it was a desperate call to end my pain after holding on for so long.
Yeah.
And
it's hard to blame you.
For every second until I slipped into darkness.
I mean, that's what it is,
Literally. I thought about everybody and how it was going to affect them. And it's hard and it's not fair. And I don't think about killing myself now because it was traumatizing.
Yeah.
Time was totally stolen from me. It felt like I woke up 10 days later and, I was kind of aware where I was. I didn't really remember anything. I couldn't talk. I couldn't swallow. And it's still rough every day. And it's just and the main thing, and it's not, I feel guilty, of course, knowing how everybody feels about it now comparing to, I felt so closed off and alone and like I had no one.
Or that no one could really relate or understand. Like, everyone could be there for you, but no one truly understood what it was that you were going through, even if they were there every step of the way,
And, nobody ever will unless you go through it yourself. And so it's to a certain point, of feeling alone in certain ways. But I understand where everybody else is coming from because they're my family.
Yeah.
My friends, my boyfriend, his family. I understand where, their place of hurt and mistrust and everything plays in. But for the doctors to be holding it against me how they are, and they say they're not, but 150% they are.
Yeah.
And it's unfair because they were already playing the hands of God because they decide who gets listed. Ultimately, they decide. And for their decision to come to be not to list me because, and I quote them, I'm in no condition mentally.
Yeah.
Just takes another hit to me.
Because it's just going to prolong the process. It's not going to help anything. You're just going to have to keep going through what you're going through that's making you mentally drained until you're not anymore. Like, how are you supposed to mentally get over something that you're still going through? Like, you can't just, I don't know. That's crazy because I heard about the story from your TikTok. That's how, and you probably have more of an insight to what had happened with her that maybe she doesn't remember or blocked out, because I get that we do that with trauma and stuff. What, because you started talking about it on TikTok because she's not getting listed. Yeah. So what made you start?
I mean, TikTok has been like just a good thing. Just even since all this, you know, it makes me laugh. I laugh at my videos. I think I'm funny. Yeah. Yeah. Nobody else might, but that's okay. Yeah. But so I've started sharing her story, and, you know, and it's been a good support system because it's hard, you know. I'm 40 years old and I'm her caregiver, and I take care of her and see her in her worst, and it's not easy. And so TikTok has really helped me, and I love my followers and they've been great. And so, you know, I posted her story when we found out she was in heart failure, and then, I mean, that night after I left the hospital, you know, I was like, I need prayers. Yeah. And I had thousands of people praying and like reaching out, and it helped me. I'm sitting in the hospital day and night, me and my mom, and, you know, I'm reading comments, and it's keeping me going, and she's over there on a ventilator, and it's helped a lot. So
that was my safe place too when I was going through everything that I was filming videos, because I've been doing it since I was 12, and I would cope by just filming my process. And I'm so glad that I did, because now I can look back at, like, I literally have a video from when I was like super depressed and I was like, I don't even want to be here anymore. It was the night of my last suicide attempt. I like filmed a video and I was like, I don't know what else to do. And so now it's like I have that to look back on, where I'm like, look at this place where I was mentally, like how far I've come, and like just showing like the process of like growing, because I film everything every single day. I'm constantly filming stuff, and so it's almost like I get to go back and relive my life. And so having videos is a really good way to cope. And so, but I know that you had mentioned like the ambulance situation with her, and like that
and just being there,
that it was just like outside. Like, what are the odds?
I mean, that's twice now. The first time I found her unconscious, I was picking my son up and I was like, be ready, I'm on my way. He wasn't ready, so I parked, went inside, and I was like, oh, let me check on Alyssa, because she wasn't feeling good from the night before and from camping. And you know, I was like calling for her and no answer, and she's over there on the couch. And so that was just meant to be. And then
the ambulance was just outside. You ran out.
Well, my mom called me. I was trying to take a nap. So I was kind of sleeping. My mom's boyfriend called. I don't know if she was on the other line. I was half asleep, and he's like, your mom's calling or something. And she's like, Alyssa, I think she's going to try to kill herself. And I was like, what? Like, what? And she's like, she sent me this long text. I walked downstairs and she's laying in her bed, and I look on the floor and there's 2 pill bottles. And I was like, did you take these? Like, what are you doing? How many did you take? She's not really, and all she pretty much said was, I don't want to live anymore. You know, and she starts crying. And then I look up and the ambulance is at my neighbor's house, because they're always there. And so I have my fiance come downstairs. I think he had helped her walk up, or maybe the ambulance was there. I ran outside, flagged down the cop, and I was like, I need you over here. Like, more than she does. And so they came in. I just know by the time, like, I went threw some clothes on, they had her walk upstairs. I hugged her, and I'm just like, you know, what are you doing? And I mean, she was literally just like passed out by the time I came back out. And they had to, you know, put her in a blanket and carry. There was 10 firefighters and stuff there. So
that's so lucky that they were literally just there, because like
it was bad. Well, I mean, we took her to the hospital. We followed, and you know, once again, I watched them cut her clothes off the first time. That was traumatizing enough, and not her fault.
No.
But to watch it no, I wasn't in there because they made us wait out. And then they said that they had intubated her, and I'm like, what? Like, what's so?
Yeah.
It was really, really traumatizing.
Yeah. Because I feel like it would be hard to be a mom in that situation. I mean, obviously, I'm not a mom, but my mom did deal with me. And so being like in a position where it's like that's traumatizing for you, but also like you have to be there for your kid. Like no matter what, like you have to put your shit aside and like really focus on like, how do I help here instead of, that would be a hard scenario. What do you think that was like the most surprising thing that you learned coming out of that?
I don't know. We're still in it. I feel like we're still
never
in
ending.
it until we get all of this done and taken care of. Like, it's still every day. We're still walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Did they give you like a time frame of like, with like your heart transplant, like you need it in a certain amount of time, or is it kind of just?
No, they haven't given me a time frame, but it was urgent enough to put me on the list.
Yeah.
You know, to start the process right away.
Yeah.
They put me on a life vest, it's just an external defibrillator, pretty much defibrillator.
Yeah.
You know, for a while I was on that from October to January.
Mm-hmm.
I was on that. My ejection fraction, which is the amount of blood that's getting pumped back inside your body.
Yeah.
You know, is low enough, and so not necessarily a number.
Yeah.
Or a time frame numerically, but
yeah. And then you're even at risk if you did get put on the list and then they were able to get you a heart, it's still risky, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you would, yeah.
You trade one plate of crap for another, pretty much.
Literally. And you have an hour
you have to take
prepare.
Pills every day for the rest of your life.
Really?
Yes, every day, and they're not cheap.
Once you get a heart transplant, you do,
or your heart can be rejected. If you miss those pills, you could still die. Yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah. It's not just like one and done.
See, because I have no idea about like anything that has to do with like, that's why this is so interesting to me.
Well, and she's so young that she would probably need another one later on in life because
like
the heart can only
years.
last so long.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then that would be another risky surgery, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the older you are, you know, obviously the riskier, plus all of the other health shit.
Yeah. So how do you feel like you're coping with everything like now? Like obviously.
Honestly, I take it day by day. I cry when I need to.
Good.
I yell when I need to, even though I'm sure sometimes isn't nice or appropriate, but I need to get that out instead of letting it build up again like I was, because, you know, shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
And I'd say 90% of the time I do apologize for being a dick.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mom. The other 10% I don't. I just, whatever emotion I'm feeling, I let myself feel it.
That's good.
I'm doing everything I can now. As far as therapy, I'm voluntarily doing, you know, what is it called?
IOP.
It's intensive outpatient therapy. Yeah.
Gotcha.
IOP. But like I'm even taking those measures.
Yeah.
To see what I can get from that.
Yeah.
You know,
can you not like do like exercising? Do you have to be very careful, or like how does it affect you like physically?
She can barely walk upstairs sometimes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even talking, I get really out of breath. I'm on oxygen at home. I have to sleep with it. I have to sleep like propped up. Walking gets hard. Like the most I do is walk to the store down the road.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I try my best to do that for exercise. Like it's just very,
Yeah. So it affects
very
your whole life,
demanding.
like every
Entirely.
aspect of your life. Oh my gosh. And then they expect you not to be depressed about it or even sad. Oh my gosh.
And on top of that, living in Utah.
Yeah, living in Utah. That's why I got the hell out of there. I was not a fan also. Yeah. I can't even imagine. That is because I didn't even know like I don't know anything about like heart failure. I don't know anything. I obviously know the mental health side of things and how it can affect you, but it's like I was just a teenager going through regular teenage shit, and then it's like I still was feeling that way. I can't even imagine. Like I'm like it's hard to blame you, you know? Like you can't you're going to feel that way. And if anything, it goes to show that you're a really strong person, that like you can literally go through all this shit and still be here and still be willing to like fight for that heart and like get it. And the fact that you're not being allowed that, it's like how much more do you expect to be able to take? Like,
And I personally, I'm not a big spiritual believer in God. I do, however, believe in the universe.
yeah,
And like I believe I'm meant to be here. It's just been too many close calls with death knocking on my door.
Yeah.
And to still be here.
Yes.
And I've always loved teaching people, spreading knowledge, learning things, and I feel like that's something that I can do as a way of being my calling.
Yeah, that's what I did too. I was like, there's no way. I've tried to die this many times and it didn't work out, and like every time it was like I should have died. Like there is no scientific math or medical reason why I'm alive, but somehow I still am, and I would wake up every time. And people a lot of the time liked to say that it was because I wasn't trying hard enough, or like people would literally, like kids in high school, like or junior high, they would send me like the train schedule so I could go jump in front of the train, or how many pills I needed to take of a certain pills. Like kids were rude and like would make it so, and they already knew that I was suicidal. And so it's like there's no way that I went through everything that I did, and that on the same night my brother did the same thing, and it was like I woke up and found out about it, and then all of a sudden changed my life. And it was like there's no way that there isn't a purpose to that. And so I needed to find what that purpose was and use it. And now like I figured out that helping people and being able to tell my story and hearing other people's stories, and that's why I do TikTok and I do advice and I talk about it a lot, is because it helps people to understand that like you can be in it and come out of it, tell your story, and it helps, I mean, millions of people. Like your story can truly impact other people. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that you guys are doing TikTok about it now, and telling your story and being so open, because that's what people need to hear. You know, like people go through shit, you know, and like it's not to say that one is worse than the other or anyone's pain is worse, because you're
feel
drowning
it differently.
Yeah,
everyone
like
feels it differently.
you could be drowning in 5 feet of water or 20 feet of water. It's drowning's drowning. But being able to hear how strong you have been, and the fact that you held on for even as long as you did before you finally were like, fuck it, I'm done, that's crazy. And I applaud you for that, and I'm very proud of you. So
thank you. I appreciate that. I would rather me go through it than anybody that I know.
Yeah.
With all of the shit that I've gone through and am going through, I would rather it be me.
Yeah, in heart failure, but got
else.
a big one, so that's really cute. Yeah, it's crazy once you get to that point where you feel that you would take it on, and it just goes to show that you can handle it, you know, and you're doing the best that you can, and we're gonna get this girl a motherfucking heart, because she needs one. So, do you guys have anything else you really want to? Is there more to the story?
I don't think. I mean, and my whole point in reaching out to you and, you know, trying to spread her story is, I feel like things need to change with getting placed on the list.
Absolutely.
You know, the drug testing, you know, to make somebody wait a full 6 months, even before being listed, you have to have 6 months of clean UAs. I don't see the point in that. Like 1 month clean UA, continue testing. If you test dirty, then take them off. But I don't think it's fair. Like,
yeah.
Well, and even like I was saying before we started this, things are changing so much medically.
Yeah.
I get that with everything from cocaine, heroin, you know, even marijuana that they test for, but if somebody has a medical card and can get it from a dispensary where they know it's not laced or coming just from random people
In a frat house. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I wasn't smoking weed just to get high and have fun.
Yeah, no, there's so many medical benefits to it.
I was using it for my anxiety, my depression, me being able to eat, sleep, move around
Do
physically.
anything. Yeah, because I wouldn't say that weed saved my life, but all I'm saying is I was suicidal for 10 years, and then I started smoking weed, and I do motivational speaking for a living. So it has so many medical benefits and mental benefits and pain. And if it's being prescribed by a doctor, especially in Utah of all places, it shouldn't be a determining factor on whether you get a heart, you know, like that. I don't know. And I'm not a doctor, so I don't know, but
I mean, I could see some goddamn lungs, but
but a heart. Yeah, no. But yeah, like you were saying, just
I mean, that needs to change. Yeah. Like I said, I want to get a hold of the list and see what that's about. And I went at it with the doctors, and I was like, I'm going to cause some waves. And
here we are.
You messed with the wrong mom.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
So,
Mama Bear is going to come out when it comes to baby.
and I've had to with her. So,
Yeah. Gotten mad at the hospitals a few times.
oh, yeah, quite a few.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
Yep. I would say just keep posting your TikToks. Obviously, we're going to try and get this on TikTok. And if you guys know anyone or you have any sort of information on like what can be done or anything that needs to be changed, I mean, you can reach out to any of us, honestly, and we can figure it out. But also,
any advice?
Yeah, any advice on what to do. If any of you have gone through it, I'm sure that hearing good messages and things are always going to be good. And
well, and right now where we stand with the University of Utah Hospital is the door's not closed. The door's not closed on a heart transplant.
it's cracked.
It's still open.
Yeah.
But we don't know how long. There's no time frame, and it's
Is
whenever
there any time that they could just be like, no, we're never going to put you on the list?
Yeah.
They would say that?
They are God. That's her life is in their hands. So they don't have to list her, and then she just.
Would you go to a different hospital? Like, what would you have to do at that point?
I would see, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've reached out to a heart doctor in California. They didn't call me back. Go figure. I need to call again. Yeah, but I don't know. Do I move out of state? Like, what are we gonna have to do?
And it's, I'm assuming, pretty expensive. You guys have a GoFundMe, right? For it.
I mean, so she has insurance. She's double covered, thank goodness.
Yeah.
But yeah, the GoFundMe is just necessities because she can't work, and gas money to get to the appointments.
Yeah.
And
just any extra
co-pays and
yeah.
her clothes, you know.
Yeah. So if any of you
necessities.
guys would like to donate to that, I'm going to put the link to that in the description and also on TikTok in my bio. And then I'm sure you guys have it places too.
Yeah, it's on my TikTok, and I mean, even her, you know, she can connect her Venmo straight up.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Just anything if you guys want to contribute.
We're also doing a golf tournament. I can post more details. Yeah, it's September 30th at the Barn Golf Course.
Yeah.
In North Ogden. I'll keep, I can keep people updated, but yeah, we're doing teams of 4, and trying to make it a thing, 'cause my friend has a foundation and I'd like to be a part of that and do a yearly thing and raise money for other people. So,
And you do updates all the time on TikTok, so people can keep up on your TikTok obviously too, and keep up with the whole thing. And you do TikTok, right, too? Here and there.
I'll start.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it'll be really good for you to be able to talk about it, because obviously you're very open and talking about it. It's what helped me a lot. So, and showing the good and the bad days, because there is a lot of influencers and people who post their good shit and they never post about the bad, and so their life just looks like it's great all the time, and that's not the reality, and people can tell. And I think that's why even my platform has done so well, is because I'm very honest about it, and I'm very honest about where I was and how I'm getting through it day to day. And if I'm having a depressive week, then I talk about that too. And so just being very honest, and I think a lot of people could benefit from your story, not only like the mental health side, but also, I mean, you're going through crazy shit right now that like you want people to learn from, or at least be able to sympathize with and hear your story, because obviously you're here for a reason, and you're pushing through for a reason. So I think it'll be really good if you started posting videos. Obviously, I'm gonna advocate for it all the time though, but yeah. And I'm very proud of you for sticking around, even though I know I can't even imagine how hard it would be, but I have a very soft spot for people who struggle like that, because I totally get how hard it is. And yeah, so I'm very proud of you for that.
Thank you.
But is that everything? You
I
guys?
think so. Yeah. No,
We'll
I
have to
appreciate
give
you.
another update in like 6 months.
Yeah, you guys
Like,
will have to come
fly
back.
out again.
Yeah, come back to Vegas. It'll be so fun. Again, their links are going to be on the screen, so you guys can keep up with them and keep up with the story. And if you guys want to donate, again, they have a GoFundMe that I will link in the description. I think that's it. Thank you guys for coming to Vegas. I was
Thank
really
you.
excited. So,
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I've been following you since I joined TikTok.
oh really?
It's like
oh, good.
a long time.
Cute.
So
Okay, good. It's nice to finally meet you guys. I was really excited. But yeah, I guess that's the end of the podcast. This is the Illest Minds podcast. We finally have a name for it, but I will see you guys in the next one. See ya.